So this is a video of the worst flooring job in the world. So in no particular order, starting at this end, this area you can see was covered in floorboards, and as was the whole room, and the instruction was a very simple one to replace all the floorboards and the acacia, and there we go. Prior to that, these clowns had laid concrete floor underneath, but it's so uneven, there's a chance of getting seasick on it. You can't see that, however, trust me, it is down there. Anyway, this area here was a boarded over area up to the edge of the kitchen, as you can see here. And when they finished, they said, I said, well, what about this bit? And the answer I got was, well, it's a bit awkward to board over it, which is strange, seeing as there were floorboards there to start off with. And, you know, the advice was, well, put a bit of coconut mat down there. So you can tell straight away we're dealing with complete idiots and rank amateurs. So to close in on some of the quality of work, as you can see, this is how it was edged off. And that goes all the way around. So you can see when we get to here, not only is it edged off, there's these tiny bits of board which are hacked off with a saw. Hence these sort of raggedy edges and these tiny shapes. Moving back over, we see possibly what I think is one of the most amusing bits of this whole tragedy. Hard to see here, but the way the floorboards are set up, they're not sort of joining in any way, shape or form. So we get this little sort of square hole in the middle of where they do meet, and that's it. So that just goes down to the floor underneath. What you can see is that there's no interlacing at all. These floorboards across the centre of the room are just simply joined in this one continuous seam kind of fashion. And yeah, you know, the obviously totally bad practice. What you might not be able to see, but is that also here the boards are they don't run in any kind of parallel lined up fashion, so there's no sort of interlacing, no brickwork pattern or anything. And some of the boards, you can see, they were chipped as they were put in. The continuing around here, this white trim that was once actually up to the door, as you can see by that sort of little chicane shape there, would have met nicely up to the door, and that's now been screwed to the floorboards a couple of inches back, so when it finally goes into place, if these floorboards are staying, which they're not, there would be holes in the floorboard. And again, you can see this rather strange tiny little end pieces that were hacked off, and if you can see down there, they're all sort of very odd and different lengths, with these rather sort of done by drunk angles that have been cut into the edge. Round here again, we can just see all this ultra bad fitting, and it goes round and back over here. The other thing to note is that all of this mess on the walls was left by, well, the same people who don't seem to have any idea of what the idea of doing a good job is. Either that or they just simply didn't care. And that's really about the sort of sum total of what they did before I told them to leg it. Naturally they got angry and blamed me, but I wasn't taking it. They then offered me a deal, get this, that if I bought more floorboards at my cost, they would come back and relay them. Strangely enough, that was a very easy deal to say no to. Hard to see here, but the patio was covered in dog ends, which they just left. And again, hard to see, but over in that corner, the excess concrete from the underfloor effort was simply tipped out onto the grass in that corner of the garden where it still lies. Now then, obviously I can't really name these people here in public, but if anybody's concerned that they might be considering getting some flooring work done or other work done in the Morden area, and you don't want these clowns to come along and do a likewise dreadful job for you, and you're worried that they might, you might have found them or they might have found you. Let me know and I'll be happy to give you some guidance on who they are and therefore avoid all this stress. The final closing chapter on this is that they wanted a further £1,100 for doing this work, which I refused. They then gave me this rather bizarre offer of me buying more floorboards and they would come along and replace them, which I also refused. Had I given them that outstanding balance of 1,100, I'm sure I wouldn't have seen them for the light of day or been able to find them. Surprisingly, you will no doubt find that there's little trace of them on Checker Trader or anything like that, so probably my fault in hiring them. But I'm glad to acknowledge that that was my failure, but hopefully others can learn from that and avoid being taken for a ride. I think the only reason why they were pressing back with these rather absurd offers was to simply get their hands on the remaining 1,100, which hasn't happened and won't happen. So there we have it, and good luck in everything that you do, particularly when it comes to finding people to do floorboards for you. Bye.